Oh man, oh geez, new Zelda looks awesome. It's so cute! The tilt shift, the proportions. I swear, if they start turning Zelda into another Yoshi-esque series, I'm going to be so mad. But still, the foxes, the chickens, the goombas, the chain chomp, hang on just a sec. What? Well, no, not what. I'm feigning ignorance to appear more relatable, so that you'll like me more. It's what all the big YouTubers do these days. But while Mario enemies in this upcoming Zelda title are a surprise to many, they were actually in the original game too. Albeit not as cute. And speaking of as cute, some people are complaining about this game's art style, but like, this just seems like the perfect modernization of the original game's art style. And it's not like it's supposed to be a super realistic game at the time anyway. I mean, it has Mario enemies in it. When you take a look at these comparison shots, you begin to realize that these sorts of proportions and colors were intended. They were just limited by the Game Boy. However, the one thing that I do understand is the opinion of not liking the plastic toy aesthetic. I feel like in general the people complaining are just saying it's too cartoony when really it's the plasticness they don't like. And having preferences about specific looks is fine, as long as you don't try to pass it off as objectively wrong. Oh, this art style is objectively bad because it's Zelda and it's not supposed to be fun looking. It's the Wind Waker thing again. Anyway, the original Link's Awakening came out in 1993 on the original Game Boy and was the fourth installment in the franchise. At the time, Zelda games only just started having their classic Zelda formula figured out. But then, perhaps wanting to break away from that, this game by Takashi Tezuka and Shigeru Miyamoto takes Link away from the mainland of Hyrule and onto the island of the Mushroom Kingdom. Well, no, not really. It was Koholint Island, but among the usual sort of Zelda enemies, this island is also inhabited by Mario enemies too. And not just the ones we saw in the recent trailer, but also piranha plants, Cheep Cheeps, Boos, Thwomp and Thwimps, Shy Guys, Spinies, Pokies, and Kirby. Just straight up Kirby. They are known as anti-Kirbys in the West, but in the original Japanese translation, it's just the same name as Kirby. It's just a Kirby. So what's going on? Is this island just between Hyrule and the Mushroom Kingdom? Is Dreamland not all that far off? Where's Yoshi's Island in relation to all this? Because there's a Yoshi doll too. And you can find a picture of Princess Peach. And deepest lore, that's not even the only time you can find a picture of Princess Peach in Zelda, because there's also one in Ocarina of Time. And that's just the direct connections. Many of the characters you meet look eerily similar to others, but aren't. Tarin is totally a reference to Mario. I mean, he's big, fat, mustached, and eats mushrooms to turn into a raccoon. Not 100% accurate to Mario, but close enough for a reference. The Cuckoo Keeper looks like Luigi. The egg on the mountain looks like a Yoshi egg. Mamu is totally just Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2. Here's Mr. Right from this game, and here's Mr. Right from the SNES port of SimCity. And you also straight up meet Richard from The Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls, which was a Japan-only Game Boy game, but you'll probably recognize its main character as he's an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. For a Zelda game, there are a lot of cameos and half cameos. As in, like I said, we see Princess Peach, but her name in the game is Christine. But you can't tell me that this isn't Peach. Though at the same time, she was only known as Princess Toadstool at the time. Was Christine her original first name? There's a video about that whole story here, but back to Link's Awakening. Right away, this game is already a sort of hodgepodge, as the game itself is an asset flip from the previously mentioned Frog Bell Tolls game, utilizing the same engine and all. But is that why there are Mario and Kirby enemies? Just to save time, reusing assets from previously made games? As both Mario and Kirby already had games out on the Game Boy at the time, released just a year before even. But notably, those two had some shared assets. Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins, and Kirby's Dream Land. Here's a Gordo, a regular Kirby enemy. Here's a Gordo in Mario, but it's called an Unibo instead. Here's a Gordo in Link's Awakening, but it's called a Sea Urchin instead. Here's an Umbrella Foot enemy based on a yokai in Mario, and it's also in Kirby. There's question mark boxes in Kirby, and the enemies Blipper, Squishy, Two-Face, and Booler all look somewhat different from their Mario counterparts, but act similarly. Same programming, modified sprites. This entire era of Nintendo on the Game Boy was about saving time and money, I suppose. So many assets were flipped. Pokemon Pinball even copy-pasted Kirby's Pinball Lands engine. Though, I mean, if you think about it, Why wouldn't you do this when you could? What's the point of remaking an asset that's just going to wind up 99% the same as another asset you already have anyway, when you could just copy-paste the first asset? And if you're already copying over 1 or 2 assets or enemies, might as well bring on more. You already have a Mario enemy, now you can add in more Mario enemies and references all over. It's just fan service. It's full of cool, fun references. It's a big win-win. Plus, at this point, Miyamoto had recently become gaming legend. Both his Mario and Zelda games had become majorly successful franchises, the biggest games in the world. So perhaps in this little scaled-down Zelda, he wanted to celebrate that, adding in loads of Mario things, but then also got a few things from other Nintendo franchises that he happens to like in there. Who knows, really? It's just a little bit of gaming history. Also, here's a game theory. Link's Awakening is all a dream, because it says so on the back of the box. It's not a spoiler, it's not a surprise, it's right there. Hopefully, I can pass canon off as theory and get millions of clicks too. Now, I don't get to talk about stuff like this that often, so if you're interested in this kind of stuff, let me know, and here are some other similar videos. They are dated, but anywho, just like them. Please like them. Please like them. And please remember to never stop using your noggin.